Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Convos on the Couch. I'm having so much fun doing these episodes.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so good. We've just done a couple episodes on social media.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Which is really good. Guys, if you haven't watched those videos already, make sure you guys do so. Really good. And this episode, we're going to be starting a new thought on, or a new conversation on Your Mess Matters. And specifically, what we're going to be talking about is mental health. We 100% believe that mental health is such a big thing, especially in the climate at the moment with this pandemic. But it's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Pandemic aside, it's always been a thing. It's been a thing when we were growing up and going through teenage years and all those sorts of things. So we're excited to jump in. If you haven't seen Combos on the Couch before, my name's Josh.
My name's Tamara.
She is the most beautiful person on the planet. Look at this. Look at this smile. Isn't she amazing? And Convos on the Couch is part of Young Royals youth ministry. And what we aim to do is we have a heart for young people, and we want to help high schoolers in particular grow from where they are now to where God has called them to be, which is such a good thing. There's so much in that. And that's why we do what we do, why we're sitting on a couch in our bedroom making these videos for you guys. So it's really cool. So let's jump in. Your Mess Matters, talking about mental health. Now, Tamara, I guess we should introduce and give people a bit of a background of what you do, because you've had more to do with mental health than me.
So basically, I used to work in daycare, and I kind of started learning about mental health, I guess, in daycare. But then after daycare, so working in daycare for 5 years, and then I went to work as a school chaplain. So I've studied my Cert 3 and 4 in youth work, and then also my diploma in youth work, and looking to study social work next year. So basically, in my role as a school chaplain, it was very common for mental health, not only for young people, but also for parents and also the staff, I guess, too.
Excellent. And obviously through youth, how long have we been involved in youth ministry?
Yes, and youth ministry as well.
2 decades.
Well, actually, me, it's less, because I became Christian when I was 10.
Yeah.
But I was a youth leader from year 11, year 12, I guess.
Not 2 decades, 15. Just shy of 15 years for me involved in youth ministry.
The same for me too.
There you go. So we've seen it all, heard it all, and that's why we want to have this conversation about that. So jumping right in, and I guess the two big things that we hear around mental health is anxiety and depression. And obviously, if you look a lot more in depth into it, I know you've done studies on it. I've done studies on it in the uni that I've done. There's a whole lot more, but the two big ones are the anxiety and depression. So Tamara, how would you break down and describe what anxiety is and what depression is?
Okay, so anxiety is more about worry, and worrying about either the things that they're dealing with now, but also it could be the things that they're dealing with they can deal with in the future, whether they know what that is or whether they don't know. So it can be either of those things, but anxiety is more worry. Whereas depression is more sad, depressed, feeling, and that's more like your mental thoughts and your mind is affected by the sad thoughts and the negative thoughts. So that can also be the now and the future as well. They both can be, but it's a very real thing. And, it's something that is not, shouldn't be just left to the side. It's something that is real and that needs to be dealt with.
It should be common to talk about. It shouldn't be, to use a word, taboo. It's we don't talk about that. Well, no, it needs to be one of those things that is talked about. And I know, how long have we known each other? It came out 15 years?
Yeah, 15. No, 12 years.
12 years. 12 years. 12 years. And in that, 2008. So 12 years we've known each other. And in that time, we've both gone through seasons of anxiety and depression.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we've experienced firsthand, and yeah, exactly what you said. Anxiety, it's almost a fear of the unknown.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown. Yeah, for sure.
And depression is your worry, anxiety is your worry. Depression is it clouds your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And you have no motivation, you have no desire to do anything.
Yeah, and almost to depression, actually, you almost don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You lose your sense of identity.
Identity and purpose.
You don't want to do anything. Sometimes you may not want to get out of bed.
Yeah, I remember there was one stage there. All I wanted to do was sit in the bottom of a shower, and just as like, I'm good here, and just didn't want to move. Just didn't care, didn't eat. Yeah, so it's very real, and it
for sure
hits everyone. All right, so now that we've touched on that, what would you say to someone? And obviously, there's different levels.
Yeah.
So just because you aren't like isolated to the bottom of a shower or bedridden doesn't mean you don't have depression, or doesn't mean you don't have anxiety. So there's various levels and sorts of things, and it's all serious, but there's different levels of it. So what would you say to someone that is experiencing or is going through any form of anxiety or depression right now?
Okay, so the first thing that I would say to them is to, number one, talk to someone.
Yeah, so
sometimes it's really hard to talk to someone.
Yeah.
But when you do open up and talk to someone, you actually feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or a lot better.
And that's really hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And to speak about how you're feeling. And sometimes when you're going through this, you don't know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And you don't, most of the times, and in my experience, when I speak to someone and they are going through that, one of the first things they say is, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. And that's okay. It's okay to not know where to start.
And that's beautiful. That's such an important thing. And I think people need to understand that. And I've heard this so many times. It's a nice little catchphrase. It's okay to not be okay. Yeah. So
it's okay to not be okay, but don't stay at that state of not being okay.
Don't stay not okay. Yeah.
You've got to put steps in place to move forward.
Talk to somebody.
For sure.
One thing that I've heard, and you may not even be comfortable talking to someone, but I know as a kid, to give you a little bit of backstory, I come from a broken home, and so whenever I was feeling sad, I had a toy, like a stuffed toy, and I spoke to my stuffed toy.
That's really good.
Ezekiel's now got it. His name's George.
Yeah.
And Happy. There was the two that I had, and I talked to them, and it seems childish and whatever, but when I didn't have the strength to talk to someone, I could talk to George or Happy,
to the toy.
And it was so good. And then that gave me the confidence to then open up with someone.
Yeah. So, and even cuddle your toy.
Oh.
Like, that's another, something else to do if you don't feel like you want to talk to someone.
Yeah.
And that person, it could be, I'm not saying like go talk to like, a psychologist or a counselor or anything
you don't
like
have
that.
to,
You don't have to do that, but, talk to a trusted adult.
Yeah.
Your mum, your dad, your guardian, even a church leader or your auntie, your uncle.
Talk to a chaplain.
A chaplain. Even a teacher. There's some teachers that you really just connect with. Talk to them. And, if that person that you speak to don't know what steps to do or what to do to help you move forward, they will give you someone that you can talk to or help you in whatever way they can.
And if you are really struggling, and like we're not sponsored by these people, but Beyond Blue
and Lifeline too.
Lifeline, they do such an amazing job. Kids Helpline, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to be on the verge of doing something drastic and permanent to need to call them.
Yeah.
If you really struggle and you like the idea of talking to someone that you have no idea who they are, and there's no connection there, Beyond Blue, Kids Helpline,
and it's all confidential.
All confidential. It's so good, and they're really nice. They really are. We're looking at doing some stuff with Beyond Blue moving forward, which is really cool. But yeah, so good. So good. All right, so we've looked at what it is. We've looked at what to do. Um, I guess what we would say how, and you mentioned it before. It's okay to not be okay, but what's not okay is to stay not okay.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to rewind that and play that bit again, but to move forward from that, what's some real practical things that I could do if I'm going through anxiety or depression, or a teenager or whoever's watching?
Some real practical ways. So some real practical things you can do is just like take 30 minutes in your day or longer if you'd like to do something for you. Have a me time.
So explain that. What's
okay.
me time?
So me time, it looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
For me, me time would be to go for a walk.
Yeah.
I like to go for walks around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It could be to sit on my phone, playing a game, listening to music.
Yeah.
Or reading my Bible, or reading a book.
Yeah.
But it also could look like to you, could be colouring in or drawing or...
Colouring in is making a massive comeback.
Yeah.
You see those adult ones with those fancy
meditation
patterns.
colouring in, they call it. So
that's someone else. That's not me. That's not my me time. That's someone else's me time. I don't.
But also, it could be things like going out with a friend, hanging out with a friend. It could be going outside and sitting on your favorite seat and just watching nature and watching birds, and it could be
for me, playing sport.
Yeah, could be playing sport.
Playing sport is a great outlet. Not being stereotypical, but for boys. For boys, getting active, work out that energy and all that sort of stuff. We have a lot going on in our body as we grow and develop, as do girls. But I know for me growing up, sport was such a great escape. Basketball especially, whenever I was on that court, that's all I thought about. I didn't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Fast and Furious. In that quarter mile, you don't think of anything else, and it's just a great outlet. So girls, it might be sport as well.
Another good one too is to write down your feelings. Journaling and writing down, but also not even writing down your feelings, but also writing positive thoughts. So like something that you could do if you're feeling this way is for every day to write down 3 things that you're grateful for.
And
every day.
And people say that, and I think people overthink that. They overthink, what am I grateful for?
Yeah.
These could be the most trivial things, basic simple things. I'm thankful for fingers.
Yeah.
You try living a day without using your fingers. Life becomes just annoyingly painful without fingers.
Yeah.
Thankful for arms, for eyes, for legs, for toes. All those sorts of things.
Even food. And a house, something so...
I lay down in bed last night and I said, thank you, Lord, for mattresses. Like, seriously. It's so good. Little things like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, I am thankful for, and rattle off some, eloquent thing. Thankful for fingers, for toes, for mattresses,
And, when you're feeling that way too, it's important to know what you're thankful for.
Yeah.
Because that actually helps you to move forward as well. Yeah. To know that even though there's things in my world that are making me worried or making me sad, I'm thankful for this. And you're thankful for what you've been given, and you're grateful for life and what's given to you in life.
And what's really good too about making it really practical is you got to think like your head is clouded. You can't try and think of all these things. You got to stay focused, and having all those basic things is really cool. So
baking is another one too.
Baking.
Do you like cooking or
food?
Baking?
You just like food, just bake.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You go to Woolies, you get like Woolies have like $2 special things. You just whip up a sponge cake or a mug cake.
And you probably have milk and eggs. Yeah.
Happy days.
Obviously, if your parents let you though.
Yeah. Seek parental advice first. But hey, I'm sure. Hey, if you're my kid and you said, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna make a cake," I'll be
Be
like,
like,
"Sure,
go ahead.
as long as I can have some."
Yeah.
All right.
As long as it's not all for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheesecake for me, please. Thank you. If anyone wants to bake me a cheesecake, I'm happy to take it. Awesome. Well, guys, hopefully that's helped someone in a real practical way, and we've started the conversation on mental health and your mess matters, because guys, that's it. Your mess does matter. It's okay to not to be okay. All right, God still loves you. God still has a plan for you.
Yeah.
And just because this is where you are now, it's not where God's called you to be, and God hasn't called you to remain there.
Yeah,
So for
sure.
anyone going through anxiety, depression, or any other sort of mental health issue, God's got you. We've got you.
Yeah.
We love you guys. We're supporting you guys because we really do want to help you grow from where you are now, whatever situation that is, to where God has called you to be. So good. Well, thank you so much for joining this episode of Convos on the Couch. Josh and Tamara here. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because we do some good stuff. We've got some great stuff planned coming up. We've got another episode talking about Your Mess Matters, and then we're going to be venturing into some other cool stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to make sure you guys stay notified whenever we drop a new video. Click the like button as well. Let us know what you like. Maybe throw in the comments as well some topics you want us to talk about. I know we've got coming up Valentine's Day. It seems long away, but it's not really. Yeah. In February, we're going to be talking about relationships, friendships, and then also dating, which is going to be cool. We're going to be talking about emotional health and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So stay tuned. It's going to be good. And share it. Pick how many friends?
2.
2 friends. Pick 2 friends right now. Click that share button and share it with your friends. I'm sure they would appreciate it. Worst case, go over their house and watch it with them. Happy days. All right, guys. Love you guys lots. See you guys next episode. Bye.
Bye.